What does the leader actually want? And is it possible that President Ross was transformed into the Red Hulk against his own will? We know that Captain America: Brave New World will see the debut of Thaddeus Ross as the Red Hulk, and while Ross has been present in the MCU since the very beginning, this will be the first time that we'll see him transform into the Red Hulk incarnation. In the comics, this transformation was a deliberate one in order to level the playing field against the Hulk, since Ross was forced to keep relying on the military resources and technology in order to match pace with the Hulk's raw strength. The Hulk was faster, stronger, more agile, and more durable than anything the military could provide. So Ross eventually decided that drastic means would have to be taken in order to contend with his greatest rival. If he could transform himself into an entity with the same level of physical strength, while maintaining control of his tactical military mind, then Ross could finally take matters into his own hands and subdue the Hulk once and for all. In the MCU, however, it seems like this transformation may not have actually been of his own volition. So come along with us today, and let's talk about the theory that someone else transformed Ross, and cover exactly why and how they did it. First, let's talk about the apparent assassination attempt that Isaiah Bradley launched against the president. We see him attacking the Secret Service, and even taking a shot at Ross, but in the interrogation, Sam asks Isaiah if he remembers anything of what happened. This seems to imply that Bradley was on some sort of autopilot, similarly to how Buckley carried out operations as the Winter Soldier. So Bradley may have been puppeteered against his will, and if this is the case, then the assassination may have been a ploy, and this is just a distraction for either Bradley or someone else to inject Ross with a catalyst for the transformation. We believe though that there is another layer to this attack that we're not seeing right now, and won't know specific details until the movie releases, but the who and the why seems very clear. Right now, the leader is shaping up to be the primary antagonist of the film, and he is highly motivated when we take into account Ross's history. Keep in mind, Ross's motivation to turn into the Red Hulk of his own accord doesn't seem to fit into the modern MCU, since the Hulk is in his Professor Hulk form since last we saw him. He's peaceful, working on his own, with no indication that the Hulk has been active in the last few years of the MCU. If Ross did this on his own, then it would likely mean that the Hulk is back, and if the Hulk is back, then this would be a Hulk film, not a Captain America film. Furthermore, President Ross says in the first trailer that he wants to make Captain America into an official government position, and he has been adamant that superheroes need to be regulated and controlled for years now. Ross was the primary spokesperson for the Sokovia Accords, and he has spent a lifetime tracking down the Hulk in order to capture and imprison him on the basis that he was unpredictable and destructive. His history with the Hulk has made him wary of any superpowered individual that the government is not prepared for, so it's unclear what his criteria for this is, since regular humans like Natasha and Clint were caught under the umbrella of the Sokovia Accords as well, despite not having any augmentations or powers. Likewise, we don't currently know how he plans to police someone like Thor when he returns to Earth, but whatever the cause may be, it's clear that he would see the leader as a threat, especially given his views on the Hulk and other gamma-irradiated entities. If he ever comes to know of the leader's existence, it's likely just the fact that he has been deformed by gamma may be enough to get him on the president's radar, which could explain where the leader has been all this time. So, in order for the leader to get Ross to abandon his views, he needs to make the president understand what it's like to be him, what it's like to be a gamma-mutated freak of nature. We actually saw a plot very similar to this theory play out over 20 years ago when the original X-Men films were released by Fox. Magneto's objective in the film was to abduct Senator Robert Kelly, one of the most vocal anti-mutant activists in the US government. This was to make him understand. Kelly had been leading a campaign run on fear and bigotry in order to paint mutant kind as an abomination, one that was coming to take over humanity. There was no way to simply talk to Senator Kelly. He had already made up his mind about mutants and would not be swayed by discussion or debate, but his actions and legislation were already in motion. There was simply no way to vocally convince him, and Magneto knew this. He knew that the only way to get the senator to understand was if he experienced firsthand what it was like to be a mutant. So Magneto ensured that the senator went through a series of experiments to awaken his X gene and cause him to mutate, and only then did he develop the compassion necessary to understand what life was like from a mutant perspective. Only until he lived as a member of the other half Would he be able to see how his actions were impacting those that he did not understand? Is it possible that the leader is doing something similar to President Ross, using Isaiah Bradley as a pawn to do so? We do know that Adamantium is about to play a much larger role in the MCU going forward, and that the body of Tiamat would be mined for the raw ore that can be forged into Adamantium. We know that Ross is going to play a hand in collecting that, but right now, this seems to be more of a Thunderbolt-centric quest rather than bleeding over into Brave New World. If the Thunderbolts are going to be sent to the Indian Ocean in order to retrieve Adamantium deposits, then the bulk of the lead work for Adamantium will probably be done in the Thunderbolts movie. So while we're probably going to hear about Adamantium in Brave New World, it may not be as large a plot point as we initially thought it would be. If Adamantium played a key role in Brave New World, then recycling it for the Thunderbolts would be redundant. Right now, we don't know where the leader has been since 2008, and it's not entirely clear what he wants at this point, given we haven't seen him in any of the trailers. In the past, all he wanted was research and to understand Bruce Banner's condition, but now his views may have evolved significantly. In the comics, the leader's mind is so powerful that he can comprehend things that are physically impossible for regular humans, and is one of the smartest characters in all of the Hulk's comics. And so his objectives are often accomplished with elaborate planning. The leader plays on a 4-dimensional chessboard, and so Ross's own agenda being turned against him would be an interesting moral quandary to introduce into the MCU, especially given what we know about not just Ross, but the legacy of Captain America. Steve Rogers set an impossibly high bar for anyone to live up to, and if there is one true successor, then Sam Wilson is the best choice for the job. But he's going to be walking in the shadow of what Steve has already done, which the leader may be able to abuse. If Ross is still adamant that the remaining Avengers and heroes need to be policed and governed, then we may see the leader take a much more extreme stance on the same position, the same one that Steve Rogers himself once embodied. Steve believed that the Avengers needed freedom to operate of their own volition, and that the government couldn't limit individuals simply on the basis of having supernatural and abnormal powers. He said that the government could stop the Avengers from going somewhere that they were needed if they answered to a higher power, or that the Avengers could become political pawns to be moved wherever the powers that be wanted them at that moment. They could send them on morally objectionable missions like the Thunderbolts seem to be doing, and in the trailers, we see that Ross is trying to do this same thing with Sam Wilson. He wants to make Captain America answer to the president, and we had this problem once before. His name was John Walker. In the comics, the US agent is the embodiment of this idea, a Captain America who is a lapdog to the whims of Uncle Sam. And Ross is making moves towards making Sam compliant to the government's authority. If the theory is true, then it would mean that the leader is taking a similar stance in order to show that the president that he doesn't have the authority to govern others on a basis that they have powers or the title of hero. This is interesting because we're seeing the leader effectively agree with Steve Rogers in a twisted way, while Steve's successor is tasked with stopping him. This could be a compelling question to pose, even if the leader's actions are far more extreme than anything that Steve would ever do. Sam may be tasked with stopping the leader, even though in the broadest sense, the leader could be advocating in Sam's favor, leaving Sam to wonder if he's truly on the right side. This also leaves us to wonder exactly what the future of the character may hold, and whether or not old rumors of a World War Hulk film could be rearing their head again. The rumors of a World War Hulk storyline were prevalent months ago leading up to Phase 5 and 6, so we currently don't know if these plans were actually in motion or what the current status of this idea is in the MCU. If Marvel, however, is truly scrambling to recognize the multiverse saga, then bringing a Hulk-centric project to the forefront may be in their best interest. If this is the case, then this might not be the last that we see of the leader, or of Ross as the Red Hulk in the MCU. And since we know that She-Hulk and the Abomination are both still out there, it's only a matter of time before they all share the screen together. For not doing so would be a grave missed opportunity. But anyway, my friends, what do you think of the leader's motivations in Brave New World? Is he going to take a page from the teachings of Magneto and transform Ross against his will to make a point about his hypocrisy? Or is there something else going on? As always, guys, smash that subscribe button to assemble and join our team. We'll be posting regularly again, and have a great day.